我的妈哟，
My god, Jinyu Street is so desolate. All the shops are for rent, but there's not a soul in sight. It's terrifying.
太恐怖了吧！
Do you see? This is a county town building. Look how many lights are on in this building. Very few. The remaining dark lights either mean no one lives there or the residents have gone to work in other places. It's so desolate.
好萧条啊！
Over the past decade, China has experienced a population siphon phenomenon. Migrants have continuously concentrated in first and second tier cities, while third, fourth, and fifth tier small county towns have gradually been emptied out. Let's look at these alarming statistics. 90% of counties and cities in northeast China are experiencing net population outflow. The figure reaches 84% in central China, and 77% in western China are also suffering from population loss. Even in the relatively economically developed Yangtze River Delta region, tens of thousands of people leave the county towns of northern Jiangsu every year. Statistics show that nearly 1,500 counties in China are facing the dilemma of shrinking size and population migration. Some experts warn that as many as 90% of these counties may disappear in the future. A major transformation of urban structure, 90% of county towns in China will disappear in the future. What are the reasons? In the past 10 years, more than 140 counties have been transformed into urban areas. Small county towns across the country are disappearing at a visible rate. Some say that 90% of county towns may completely cease to exist in the future. Is this an inevitable trend of the times or an imbalance in development? From 2010 to 2020, 141 counties were abolished nationwide, while 110 new urban districts were added. In the past, county towns not only suffered from severe population outflow, but also suffered from a single-sector economy and a lack of vitality, being almost completely drained by large cities. The blogger says that according to national planning, county towns are divided into 5 categories. County towns near large cities may seem lucky, but as many as 85% of them are experiencing population loss. What will their future hold? Perhaps it can only fade away into the torrent of time. This is a small county town in Syria style. That day, I accidentally walked into the old street that was once full of memories, and for a moment, I felt like I had stepped into the Syrian battlefield. The wheels of time roll forward, and this small county town faces the fate of demolition. The roar of demolition machines broke the former tranquility, and the familiar streets and houses gradually disappeared into the dust. Those corners that carried memories are now ruins. Everyone's hearts are filled with reluctance. They stand in front of the ruins searching for traces of the past. But demolition does not mean the end, it means a new beginning. Although the former vibrancy has temporarily dissipated, it will bloom again in a new form. In Tibet, there is a county town at the highest altitude in the world called Shuanghu County. It is located in the Qingtang uninhabited area at an altitude of over 4,900 meters. Now I've arrived at this county town, Shuanghu County. Before 1976, this was a no-man's land sparsely populated. In 1976, to develop this no-man's land, the Shuanghu office was established here, and it wasn't officially established as a county until 2012. Now, I'm walking on the streets of Shuanghu County. There are almost no people, and most of the shops are closed. Because in 2018, a mass relocation began here. Where did the people from Shuanghu relocate to? To Lhasa. Besides Lhasa, where else? Mountain South, right? Oh. The silent desolation. Where exactly is the future of this small county town? I drove back to the county during the National Day holiday, drove around, and didn't see many people, just a few scattered ones. The streets, especially the old commercial street, are now dilapidated, like a haunted house, with a few migrant workers living here and there. The autumn wind blows, the leaves rustling down, very desolate. The blogger said he remembers it being very lively here when he was a child, with vendors everywhere. During the spring festival, it was packed with people, incredibly bustling. He also remembers a fabric stall where his mother would buy fabric every year to make pants. There was also an arcade on the street where he would always sneak off to play games. But he never imagined that in just over 20 years it would all become so desolate. He suddenly wondered, how long can such a county town last? Will it disappear like many other villages in 20 years? And how many such county towns are left in the whole country?
今年在县城做餐饮。
This year has been a particularly difficult year for the catering industry in county towns, especially for Chinese restaurants. Recently, I had the opportunity to talk to 7 or 8 fellow restaurateurs in county towns, especially those running Chinese restaurants, about their operations. The most common phrase I heard was, "I've been doing this for over 10 years, and this year is the hardest. Now we're hovering on the edge of closing down, filled with anxiety. From Monday to Friday, we only get 1 or 2 tables a day, maybe 3. It's a little better on Saturdays and Sundays, maybe 10 or so tables a day. That's the current situation." In county towns, not only are restaurants struggling, but even mobile phone shops are experiencing poor sales.
大家发现这个问题没有？
Have you noticed this problem? Many mobile phone shops in county towns are gradually disappearing. Is it because mobile phones are not selling well in county towns? I found that in several county towns I visited, the number of mobile phone shops has decreased by about 40 to 50% compared to before, and many have closed down.
县城的普通青年
As an ordinary young person from a small county, I feel I must try my luck in a big city at least once in my life. This is my personal experience. Many might disagree, arguing that small counties have everything, are convenient, have low living costs, are close to parents, have regular schedules, and are a society based on personal connections, leading to a high level of happiness. That's true, but I want to say, think about your county. Any profitable businesses, real estate, sand and gravel mines, logistics, transportation are all out of your reach. Behind them are the powerful families. Ordinary people like us have no chance. So why go to a big city? Many feel that big cities are expensive, lonely, and lack connections. The blogger says that in big cities, success depends solely on ability. You don't need to worry too much about interpersonal relationships. Some of his friends who stayed in small counties are actually very talented, but because they lack connections, their opportunities are almost zero, and resources are monopolized at every level. He lamented that ordinary young people in small counties could venture out to big cities and try their luck, so as not to leave with regrets. If you can't make it in a big city, can you return to your small hometown? The blogger believes absolutely not. He'd rather die in a rented room in a big city than go back to a 2-bedroom apartment in his hometown.
这2年经济大环境不好。
The economic environment has been bad these past 2 years, and the most common topic of conversation among friends is how tough it is in big cities. I'm planning to go back to my small hometown. After all, every time I go home for the Spring Festival, I always see those who stay in small towns. They don't have subways or Starbucks, but they seem to be living just as well. They drive luxury cars, live in 160 square meter condos, and their clothing and spending habits are in no way inferior to those in the city. Looking at it this way, going back to the county town seems like a really good option. The blogger warns that friends who can't make it in the big cities should easily return to small towns, because the peaceful and comfortable small towns you see are actually an illusion. Over 80% of small counties in China aren't as idyllic as you might imagine. That so-called tranquility and comfort are created by several groups. The first group consists of those working within the government system, including those in education, healthcare, and administration. In a small county town alone, this group alone numbers in the thousands, even tens of thousands. They hold onto their iron rice bowls, enjoying stable incomes, easy jobs, and a stress-free life. Earning $4,200 and spending $2,800 is no problem. They are also the main consumers in these counties, enough to sustain the illusion of high-end consumption. The second group consists of contractors who have made their fortunes through government projects. Interpersonal relationships are complex in small counties, and many projects are won by those with connections. Whether it's road construction, landscaping, environmental protection, or building construction, these contractors ultimately make a fortune ranging from hundreds of thousands to tens of millions of RMB. They live comfortably in these counties, but ordinary people struggle to get a share. This blogger is a recent college graduate who came to Hangzhou to work.
没背景、没学历。
Why do college graduates with no background, no education, and low income stay in big cities no matter how tough it is? A few days ago, I showed everyone my payslip and received comments like this. My family always calls and says, housing prices in big cities are so high. A college graduate with no connections can't afford a house even if he works his whole life. It's much better to go back home and find a stable job. There's no rent and the cost of living is lower. You know they care about you, but you always internally refuse, not because you're rebellious or immature, but because big cities are fairer and more inclusive. The blogger gives an example. In their hometown county, if you have connections, you'll get priority. If you don't, you'll be passed around, often having to give gifts and pull strings to get things done. In big cities, these troubles are almost non-existent. Staff are more friendly and efficient. In small counties, it's hard to find reliable work outside of government jobs. For college graduates like us without connections or special resources, it's incredibly difficult to make a name for ourselves. In contrast, big cities offer fresh graduates more choices. Finding a job depends on ability, not connections. Here, talking about dreams won't be ridiculed as wishful thinking, and whatever you do won't be seen as an oddity. The blogger stated that although Changzhou City in Shanxi Province is only a fourth-tier city, the cost of living is quite high, and it's almost impossible to save any money each month. 3 realities ordinary people have to accept living in Changzhi. First, although life in Changzhi is comfortable, the average salary for ordinary people is only $500. Better companies or technical positions can earn $700. Going higher seems very difficult. While the average housing price in Changzhi isn't as high as in major cities, it's still around $1,000 per square meter, which is very difficult for ordinary people to afford. Therefore, settling down in Changzhi is extremely difficult. The blogger says that the cost of living in Changzhi is not low. A casual meal with friends costs about $12 per person. Add to that monthly expenses like phone bills, gas bills, and utilities, and your salary is gone before you even have a chance to save any money. What's even more frustrating is that it's difficult to find a job in Changzhi. Aside from customer service and sales, most jobs are manual labor. He has a friend who's a programmer earning $700 a month, but after deducting living expenses like food and lodging, there's practically nothing left. If you're about my age, don't even think about going back to your hometown to drift through the days. I've been here for more than 2 years, and I've realized how small a town really is. So small that your education and abilities simply can't compete with connections. This is my honest feeling after quitting my job in Shanghai at 24 and returning 2 years ago. My hometown has a population of several hundred thousand, but the circle that truly holds power is only so small. Who gets land, who can operate a profitable shop, whose child can get into a top school, these are all in the hands of a few. For example, suppose you want to find a decent job in your hometown or want to apply to a bank. During the interview, they'll ask if your family has relevant experience, which is asking if you have connections or a family background. The blogger states that in a town, a monthly salary of $700 is considered high, while the average worker usually only earns $420. If he wants to start a small business, he can barely make ends meet, and even getting a business license requires connections. He used to think people who could develop their careers in big cities were remarkable, but now he realizes that those who succeed in small towns are the true winners. Is it really hopeless for young people to stay in small counties? I'm a native of Huangchuan. After graduation, I didn't go to Jiangsu, Zhejiang, or Shanghai, but returned to my small county for a peaceful life. Everyone says this small town can't keep young people, but I willingly stayed. Many people say Huangchuan is really not a good place to stay. It is indeed a fifth-tier small town. Everything here is based on the Little Yellow River, and the streets always have a slow, calm pace. But it's not desolate, it's just that everyone knows there are only so many places to go, so their pace naturally slows down. The blogger says that compared to big cities, she loves this small county more. The people here are very leisurely, and it seems like no one is in a hurry. The average local salary is only $420, and almost $400 might be spent on delicious food, with all kinds of restaurants lining the streets. She felt that even if she couldn't make a lot of money here, she would still be willing to stay, because the hustle and bustle of Beijing and the wealth of Shanghai couldn't compare to the vibrant, down-to-earth atmosphere of Huangchuan. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.